Take camera 2, open their mics and cue them.
Election day is tomorrow, and
Read
we're
in.
looking at it from a multitude of angles. Good afternoon.
Read out. Ready
I'm Nadia
V9,
Wyatt.
sound full.
And I'm Camilla Carter. Vice President Harris is finishing up barnstorming a battleground of states with stops critically today in Pennsylvania. And former President Donald Trump is also hitting the battlegrounds, finishing his campaign in toss-up Michigan.
Brian Abel from CNN is at the White House with the latest on the election's
V9.
final moments.
Take it.
Both campaigns really
Camera 2, I need you to move to get a
one
one-shot of
Maggie,
our anchor.
Pace, crisscrossing
And TD, when you get a chance, set up her
background up
background
those
on ME2.
270 electoral votes
you, Kane.
it takes to become the next resident of the White House here. And while making closing arguments, the rhetoric has ramped up too. The presidential campaign trail over the final weekend
doesn't have
running
any
straight
readings.
through the battleground states. Vice President Kamala Harris with multiple stops in Wisconsin
Ready,
Friday,
camera 1.
Georgia and North Carolina Saturday, and Michigan Sunday, making closing arguments of her truncated campaign, saying she wants to remind people the stakes of the election.
We know who Donald Trump is. Now, this is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better.
The Vice President Saturday also appearing on SNL.
Because what do we always say? Keep Kamala and carry on a lot.
The close of former President Trump's third presidential run, also pushing into multiple battleground states. He too was in Wisconsin Friday after Michigan, then Virginia Saturday, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina Sunday.
I will bring back the American dream, and we'll bring it back stronger than ever before.
As they sprint to the finish, polls show a race too close to call. Longtime Michigan Representative Debbie Dingell on just how close she believes this race is.
Been through enough elections that I can tell you
Okay, Debbie
I have
Dingell.
never seen a tighter election.
And the
Nope.
intense pace, it continues on this final full day of campaigning of this
says Brian
election
Abel
cycle.
on the board.
Harris making 5 stops, all in Pennsylvania, Scranton, Allentown, Reading, Pittsburgh, before her final event in Philadelphia on the steps of the famous Rocky Steps. That is with Oprah and Lady Gaga as well. And then former President Trump, Raleigh, North Carolina, also Reading and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, before his final stop, Grand Rapids, Michigan, the very same place where he has spent the last event of the previous 2 presidential cycles.
Okay.
At the White House, I'm Brian Abel reporting.
All right, take camera 1. Open her
Kamala
mic and cue.
Harris,
Ready
currently
V8,
the
sound
first
full.
female, Black and South Asian vice president, could make history by becoming the first woman and person of color to serve as the president of the United States. This story explores her potential
Roll
path
V8.
forward.
Take it.
If Kamala Harris assumes the presidency, it would reflect a shift in U.S. politics, breaking century-old
Read it.
barriers. Women of color make up only 15.7% of Congress,
Read out.
underscoring the lack of representation at high levels of government.
Ready,
Harris
camera
would not
1.
only add to this representation, but also inspire a new generation of women and minorities to pursue leadership, encouraging civic engagement and public trust.
As president, I pledge to you to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face. I am not looking to score political points. I am looking to make progress.
Her presidency could bring a stronger focus on issues like student debt, climate change, and reproductive rights, addressing priorities of the new generation. Harris has spoken now about how her opponent would not be fit and is unqualified for being president.
Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent
Yeah,
rhetoric
this is a bit long,
is
too.
clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president.
Without Harris in the Oval Office, the U.S. remains one of the few developed nations yet to elect a female leader, maintaining a symbolic gap in gender and racial equality. Her continued role as vice president still serves as a beacon of progress, but the historic impact of a female president remains unfulfilled, potentially slowing broader advances in diversity and leadership.
Take camera 1. Ready, camera 2.
Whether or not Kamala Harris becomes the president, her journey has already marked a turning point. A Harris presidency would signal the transformative progress in U.S. leadership, aligning the nation closer to its ideals of equal representation, inspiring future generations.
Take camera 2. Ready,
With Election
V9,
day
sound
just around
full.
the corner, TV 10's Jay Walker went out to see
Roll
who's
V9.
voting.
And take it.
According to Tough Circle, 50% of the United States youth from the ages of 18 to 29 casted a vote in the 2020 presidential election. with the week left ahead of the 2024 election, I went out on the quad to figure out the importance of youth voting.
I would say it's still
Read
pretty
in.
important to vote because everybody's opinion matters at the end of the day. Even though if you don't
Read out.
agree with one side, you still might have some feelings on what one person might say or what one person might do in the future.
I think it's important to
Read it.
vote, especially as a young person, because we are the future of the United States.
Read
So
out.
voting, it's a right too, and it's a privilege. And being able to have that right and a privilege means you should definitely use it and go out and vote.
You can't just sit back
Read
and
it.
watch this stuff happen, you know, like people are being mistreated.
Read out.
I don't want to name names, but one candidate's a very horrible person in my opinion.
While many students on campus think it's important to vote, it is also important to do research on who and what you're voting for, and not taking everything at face value.
I believe
Read in.
it's important to vote for the right stuff and to like know what
Read
you're
out.
voting for, because now it's like people are voting
And we're coming
blindly
back to
for
camera
things
two
that
after
they're
this.
told, but not for like actions that are actually being worked on.
Reporting for TV10 News, I'm Jay Walker.
Take camera 2. Ready,
Early
camera
voting
1.
is still available today in McLean County.
Take camera 1. Ready,
Organizations
V8,
here on
sound
campus are
full.
working closely together to host an election watch party. TV10's Nicholas Thompson tells us
V8.
more about it.
The
Take
Center
it.
for Civic Engagement is partnering with the School of Communication social media team to host an
Camera
election
2, I
watch
need you to
party.
quickly move back
The
to
watch
get a
party will
2-shot
take
at the
place
desk
Tuesday
now.
night from 7
And
to
TD,
10.
let's set up that
Here's what you
background
can
again on
expect
ME2.
from the event.
Can expect free food. We're very
Read in.
excited about that. Thanks to Devotees of
Read out.
Democracy, who's helping fund that. And we'll also have a variety of screens showing different news networks and their coverage of the election.
Bushman says, besides participating in democracy, there's one more reason why people should attend.
All just
Ready,
for
camera
fun.
one.
It's supposed to be just an opportunity for people to get together and watch the results come in.
The watch party will take
Read
place
in.
right here on the third floor of Midland Library. All are welcome
Read
to
out.
attend the event. Reported for TV10 News, this is Nicholas Thompson.
Take camera 1. Ready,
For
camera
more
2.
information on the watch party, you can look at the Center for Civic Engagement's website.
And take camera 2. Ready, Mac
Up next,
low.
a popular restaurant chain
Roll
known
Mac.
for
Ready, V9, no
celebrating the
sound.
weekend and having fun. It's not having such a great time right now.
Roll V9.
And an industry
mixed
that's
V9.
also associated with weekend fun is finding not much profit. More when we come back.
Clip mic, smack full. Ready, V7, sound full. In 3, 2, 1. Mix and roll to V7 with
The
audio.
National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences presented the Crystal Pillar
Camera
Awards.
1, we're gonna have
and
you
we
hang
here at
out. Camera
TV10
2,
are
stay
proud
where you
to
are.
announce that our very
Camera
own
3,
Maggie Blyer
it's
won
your
the
time to
award
shine.
for general assignment
We're
in
gonna
light
get
news
the weather
on
shot
her
at the
story,
wall. It's looking
Small Town
good.
Eclipse.
It was a day to remember in Mount Carmel, a town
Hey.
with a population of roughly 7,000 in
TD, let's set up the
southeastern
world
Illinois.
transition then hit
And was
fade real
presented
quick.
with the Bernstein Global Wealth Management
And then once
Scholarship
you do
as
that,
well.
change
We here at TV10 are so proud and honored to have Maggie
to the
Blyer
2
on our
box
team.
with weather. And then,
What up, cuz?
yeah.
You keeping it 100?
Yeah. That looks
What?
good.
I was just
Maybe
asking
just
you what's good.
put her more in the
Don't
middle.
get all offended, bro.
But she's
Relax.
moving around,
Look,
so
man,
it's hard to tell.
don't tell me to calm down. None of that. What you said was not only
Floor
offensive
director,
to me,
tell
but acting black, using black accents,
Allie to stand
not
kind of
cool.
still.
Look, man,
so
I'm
we
sorry.
can-
I wasn't
Yes.
trying to be offensive.
Okay, cool.
Next time
That
I'll
looks
think before I
good.
act. Thanks, bro.
Alright, and we're coming out on camera 2. We can put that
My
back in
name
preview.
is
30
Bill
seconds.
Snyder, and I am currently the weather producer at WGN TV in Chicago. I do research work that's behind the scenes, you know, before I end up making graphics that illustrate
Yep,
what we're
we
talking about
noticed.
that day. At TV10, I was the weather anchor, and I also was a reporter. I wouldn't be where I am today without the experience that I had at TV10. I'm just
One of the big
grateful for the
stories
time that I had here, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Okay, mix to camera 2. Open their mics and cue them.
TGI Fridays
TD
filed
hit
for
transition.
bankruptcy
Ready
protection
V8,
Saturday.
sound under.
And that tops our look at your world at the noon
Roll
hour.
V8.
In a statement, the executive chairman
Roll
of the
V8 and mix to
casual
it.
dining chain cited the pandemic as
Read
being
in.
the cause of their financial woes. The
Read out.
company says the bankruptcy
Ready,
only
V9.
affects the chain's parent company and not the franchises. All restaurants will remain open, including the dozens that are corporately owned. There are currently 163 TGI Fridays locations across the U.S. Earlier this year, the chain abruptly shuttered 36 locations and then closed dozens more last week.
Roll V9. And mix to it.
Inflation-weary customers are now pushing back on expensive booze. Some of the world's biggest alcohol makers have recently reported declines in volumes or sales. According to a report from drink analyst firm IWSR, overall volumes fell for the first 7 months of 2024. All major categories were affected, including tequila, American whiskey, beer, and wine. Instead of buying pricey bottles, customers are choosing lower-priced items like beer and ready-to-go drink canned cocktails. Those generally cost less on a per-serve basis.
And mix to it.
And music producer and composer Quincy Jones is dead at age 91. His publicist says he died peacefully,
TD hit
surrounded
fade.
by family in
Ready
his
V9
Bel Air,
sound
California
full.
home. Jones is best known for polishing the work of Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra, and Michael Jackson. In a statement, his family says they're celebrating his life despite their broken hearts.
Roll V9 and mix to it. And ready ME4 2 box. Mix to ME4 2 box.
And now Allie Cooper joins us in the studio.
Ready, camera 3.
Allie, it's kind of rainy out there. Is it going to stay like that for the rest of the week?
Take camera
It
3.
should stay like that for today and tomorrow, but it should clear up by midweek. Welcome to the 60s. Finally, it should stay consistent, and welcome to November. Right now on the campus of Illinois State University, it is 64 degrees, and it is raining right now. Winds are at 19 miles per hour, moving south-southwest.
And advanced monitor.
Taking a look at central Illinois, you can see in Bloomington Normal, 64 average right now. Over in Pekin, Peoria, and East Peoria, it's a 63-degree average right now. Moving on to our national temperatures, you can see that there's a variety of temperatures in the region, and it's a 43-degree average for the whole day today. Taking a look at the Doppler radar, we can see the rain is moving up in Illinois, so we can expect the rest of today to be rainy and expect some thunderstorms as well as tomorrow.
Advanced monitor.
In regard to tonight, you can expect 65-degree temperatures with thunderstorms and winds at about 21 miles per hour moving south.
Advanced monitor.
For our 5-day forecast, it should stay consistent with the 60-degree temperatures. It's going to be warmer and humid tomorrow, but then it should be pretty nice and comfortable outside. It should clear up as we go into the end of the week, but we can expect more rain going into the weekend. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, and take ME4 2 box.
All right, thank you so much,
And ready
Allie.
camera 2.
And coming up,
Take camera
learn
2.
more about a local
Ready Mac
candidate
low,
on the
roll
McLean
Mac.
County
Ready
ballot.
V9, no sound.
State
Roll
Senator
V9.
of the 46th District
mix
sits
V9.
with TV10 reporter Kyle Langelier to talk about his campaign as well. Stay with us.
Clip mic, smack full. Ready V7 sound full. In 3, 2, 1. Mix and roll V7 with audio.
Are you interested in hearing the latest on sports?
Oh, good, 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 good. All right.
fastest pitch in
Camera 1, hang out. Camera 2,
Tune
you're
in
going
to
to stay where you're
TV10
at.
News to hear the latest on
Camera 3,
professional and
hang
local
out.
sports games.
All right, we're coming out to camera 2. Let's put that back in preview.
From sports highlights to recent news about athletes and coaches, TV10 has you covered.
Goodness gracious.
Just roll their eyes at you guys. I got you.
Your sports, weekdays on TV10 News.
Holy wait. This guy's my favorite. Look at the t-shirt. Let's go.
That guy running.
In this next block, we're just playing one package, and then we'll go back into break.
Thanks.
Stay clean. Stick with hygiene.
30 seconds.
My name is Maddie Weiris. I'm a video journalist and
two
field
what?
producer for CBS Network. I travel across the country covering any breaking news story.
In the
I wake up in
package?
the morning and my
Yeah,
boss will
okay.
call me and say, can you
Thanks.
get to Maine? Or can you get to California? And then I have to go. TV10, I was a reporter, producer, and anchor. That expectation for students has always been top tier. And that's why there are so many successful alumni from TV10.
Stand by. And mix the camera 2. Open the mics and cue them.
Time for sports just
Ready
yet,
V8
but that'll
sound
be up
full.
just next. First is election talk. TV10 Kyle Langelier sat down for a conversation with State Senator of the 46th District, Dave Kaler.
Roll V8.
Let's take a look.
And take it.
This time of year, we see a lot of
Read in.
political ads. But I've noticed that between you and your
Read
opponent
out.
in this race, I've seen none. Is that true? Are there no negative ads? And is
Read
that intentional?
She's done negative ads against me, but I have not done it against
Read out.
her.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's an intentional decision?
Yeah, it's an intentional decision. I mean, when
And
you're an
ready, camera
incumbent,
two.
you basically run on your record. I just felt that that would be just not who I am, you know, to try to say, well, I'm going to run my opponent down to make myself look better. No, you know who I am. I mean, I've been there for almost 18 years now. If you like me, please choose to have me continue. If you don't like me, that's your choice as well.
I wanted to ask you, we're on Illinois State's campus, and earlier this year, our president, in his State of the University address, announced
Maybe
a
turn
new
it
budget
up a little
approach
bit.
called RISE, which is a program to fight off
Yeah.
projected revenue loss in the next few years. And as well, Bradley University announced last year they were $13 million in debt, and they removed 20 programs, about 60 faculty from Bradley. How much are you thinking about education right now, and what kind of response do you have to these budget cuts?
Well, I think about higher education a lot because I've got, 5 higher educational facilities in my district now, and they're all struggling with the fact that we have declining enrollment right now. See, here's what happens. Families, and I talk to families all the time, they say, well, we can send our student to Missouri and have them pay out-of-state tuition cheaper than we can have them stay in state. That's a problem. That's a problem. It's a problem because once those students go to another state to school, we may never get them back. We need that kind of talent back here in Illinois. So this is an area where we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and really do some work next year.
I also want to ask you, term limits have come up
My
in this
out cue for this
campaign.
is kinda iffy.
I know you support term limits for leadership.
But I'm
Is that
guessing
correct?
you'll say thank you.
And we put that in place. So the president of the Senate has 10 years. Okay, once they've filled that 10 years, then they can't be president any longer. The House Speaker is the same way.
Can you talk a little bit about what value experience brings to this job?
Oh, I think a lot because, I look back on the first couple of years that I was in Springfield. You're just trying to learn how the game is played. I mean, there's a lot of subtleties that they just don't teach in civics class in terms of how legislation is done and how, the legislative body functions. So, and it's build relationships. I always contend that politics is 90% relationships, but you have to have a mix, I think, of kind of new energy and new blood, but you also have to have the folks that are seasoned and say, yeah, I remember when.
Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take camera 2.
We will be hearing more from Senator Kaler tomorrow evening at the McLean County Democrats Watch Party,
Ready, B9,
where he
no
will be
sound.
sending a live reporter getting all the reacts to tomorrow's results. Make sure to tune in to our election show tomorrow from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time to learn more about the local and national election results and reactions.
Coming
All
up,
right, ready,
find
Mac,
out
Will.
how Redbird
Roll,
football
Mac.
did this past weekend.
And if the Bears bounce back from
And
last
roll
week's
V9.
heartbreak, stick
Mix
around.
to it. Put mic smack full. Ready, B7 sound full. And in 3, 2, 1, mix and roll B7 with audio.
Are you interested in hearing the latest on sports?
Okay, camera 1. We're gonna have you move to the sports wall now.
The previous fastest pitch in
We
MLB
do.
was
So
at
let's get a mic check on
Tune
Everton
in
as
to
soon as we
TV10
can.
News to hear the latest on professional
He sounds
and
good.
local sports
All right,
games.
TD, set up his background. Sports background.
From sports highlights to recent news about athletes and coaches,
Sure, yeah.
TV10 has you covered.
Everton, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Your
I tried to
sports,
say it quietly.
weekdays on TV10
Okay.
News.
Everton has sensitive ears. All right, yep. Thank you, TD, for setting up the ME4 toolbox.
This
He
guy's
is
my favorite. Look at that t-shirt. Let's go.
That guy running. Nice.
Yep, and that's the right monitor as well.
Man, do you need deodorant?
We're coming out to camera 1. Let's put that back in preview.
Stay
Camera 1,
clean.
can you
Stick with hygiene.
give him some more headroom? 30 seconds.
My name is Maddie Weiris. I'm
Yeah, the
a
one that
video
was-
journalist and field producer for CBS Network. I travel across the country covering any breaking news story. I wake up in the morning and my boss will call me and say, can you get to Maine? Or can you get to California? And I have to go. TV10, I was a reporter, producer, and anchor. That expectation for their students has always been top tier. And that's why there are so many successful alumni from TV10.
Okay. No, it's okay. And mixed camera 1, open his mic and cue him.
ISU football notched its sixth
Read it.
win after taking down Youngstown State 23-16
Read out.
on Saturday. Good afternoon, I'm Everton Levy with your sports. Tommy Rittenhouse led the team with 153 passing yards, and the junior scrambled for a score with his legs. Wankers Wright forced his way for 104 yards on the ground, and the Redbird running back received a touchdown off a pass by Rittenhouse in the second quarter. ISU jumped to 6-3 overall and 3-2 in conference play with this win. They will return on action on November 9th to play Northern Iowa. Now let's take a look at our Redbird recap.
Read it.
ISU volleyball spent their weekend on the road. On Friday, they took on Evansville. This would go all 5 sets, but the Redbirds would lose this game 3-2. They would bounce back Saturday with a sweep over Indiana State 3-0.
Read out.
And are now 12-14 on the season after taking on UNI last week. After taking on UNI last week, ISU soccer moved on to the quarterfinals of the MVC tournament. On Sunday, they took on UIC in Chicago. They would lose this game 4-2 as their season comes to an end. Basketball season is finally here, and after 2 games 2 weeks ago for exhibition, they'll be having their season openers this week. The men's team will be taking on UT Martin at 7 p.m. tonight in Tefke Arena. Last season, they finished with a record of 15 wins and 17 losses, but preseason polls project them to finish in the top 4 of the conference. Women's team will be traveling to Evanston to take on Northwestern on Wednesday. Last season, they finished with 22 wins and 12 losses, with preseason polls projecting them to finish 7th in the conference.
Advanced
High school
monitor
football
back to
playoffs are in
sports.
full effect.
Yep.
Bloomington High School took on Lamont this weekend
Ready V8
in the
sound
first
under.
round. They would win that game 31-20 and move on to the second round, where they will face off against Kankakee November 9th. Moving from high school football over to the pros,
Roll
the
V8.
Chicago Bears travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals at State Farm Stadium.
Read in.
The Cardinals will be the first team to score in this game with this run from Trey McBride.
Read out.
The Bears will follow up
camera
with a few
one.
big plays, but would only be able to pick up 2 field goals. The Cardinals will get their second touchdown of the game right here with this run from Trey Benson to go up 14-6. And just when you thought the first half was over, Amari DeMarcado would break through and score another touchdown, and this will put them up 21-9 at halftime. The Bears are going to lose this game 29-9 and are now 4-4 on the season.
Take camera 1. Ready
And that'll do it
ME42
for your
box.
sports.
And take ME42 box.
All right, thank you, Everton,
Ready camera
for
2.
that sports report. And when we come back,
And
we'll
take
take
camera
another
2.
look at your
And
fall
Ready Mac
football
low, roll
temperatures
Mac.
this week.
Ready V9 no
But
sound.
first, researchers
Roll
are
V9.
expressing
And
consuming
mix to
too
V9.
much sugar could lead to problems. We'll be back when we return.
Clip mic smack full. Ready V7 sound full. And 3, 2, 1. Mix and roll to V7 with audio.
The National Academy of Television Arts and
Yay,
Sciences
okay.
presented
Camera
the Crystal
1, now we're
Pillar
going to get a
Awards,
4
and
shot,
we here
so
at
everyone
TV10
head over
are
to
proud
the
to announce
desk.
that our very own
Camera 2,
Maggie
you're still
Blyer
getting a
won the
2 shot
award
of just
for General Assignment Light
Maggie and
News
Camilla.
on her story, Small
And
Town
TD, let's
Eclipse.
advance
It
the
was a
monitor to
day
the
to
5-day
remember in Mount
forecast.
Carmel, a town with a population of roughly
And,
7,000 in
preview camera one.
southeastern Illinois.
And was presented with the Bernstein Global Wealth Management Scholarship as well. We
Let's
here at
have
TV10 are so
Floor
proud
director
and
have
honored to have
Everton and
Maggie
Allie go
Blyer
head
on
over
our
to the
team.
desk, please.
Dude, I got the munchies like so bad right now.
Burgers would hit so hard right now.
Dude,
Alright,
should
camera
we go
1,
get
pan
them?
down. Or tilt
Wait,
down.
should you be driving right now?
Tilt down.
Dude, don't be so lame. Let's go.
Yeah, set that up. Okay. And zoom in. Floor director, can you move that monitor that's on the... Okay, it's out of the shot now. Alright. Camera 1, can you tilt down a little bit more? Okay. And then pan left. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. $30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Cameron Kelly, and I work at NBC 15 in Madison, Wisconsin as
That's
a
when you want to go to
multimedia
B7?
journalist and producer.
Okay.
I cover issues that matter to people in Madison, Wisconsin. I shoot and edit my
2800.
own video, as well as stack my
Word.
newscasts and time it. At TV10, I was a reporter.
And we're coming out to camera
I was
2.
also an
Preview camera 2.
anchor and producer, and I also hosted The Bottom Line.
There's no
TV10
reopen.
prepared me both in the field and in the newsroom. The reps that we get really prepare us for this industry.
All right, and mix to camera 2. Open their mics and cue them.
A new
Ready
study
V8
says
sound
children
under.
and pregnant women should curb their sugar intake. Researchers
V8.
found reducing sugar
Take
during
it.
pregnancy and up to age 2 may cut a child's risk of chronic illnesses in adulthood. Specifically, it decreased the risk of type 2 diabetes by
Ready,
about
camera
35%.
It also dropped the risk of high blood pressure by about 20%. For the study, the researchers looked at data from before and after
Floor
the end
director,
of the United
ready, camera
Kingdom's
1.
World War II era sugar rationing. The study was published Friday in the journal Science.
And take camera 1.
My question for all of you, I love
Ready,
sugar,
DDR1.
I'm not gonna lie. So what would be your favorite dessert? I mean, what would be impossible to just drop from your sugar intake?
Definitely red velvet cake.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a, I feel like I don't ever hear anyone
Minute
being
and a
like,
half
I love
left.
red velvet.
That's my favorite.
That's because it's just chocolate cake.
I mean, it
Sorry,
is.
Everton.
It's like, it's ISU pride. It's Redbird.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, see, you get it. You
Mine
get it.
is brownies.
1 minute.
Love brownies. Literally devour them.
I was going to say brownies too.
Okay.
Maybe like, for me, it would be the brookie. Like brownie and
Ooh,
cookie
yeah.
combinations.
Yeah.
Brookie.
Or like
Cook.
cookie cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Sometimes
I
that's
can't get rid
too
of
much
that.
sugar though. Sometimes it's a lot.
Floor director,
I mean,
show them
what
30 seconds.
dessert would you pair with today's weather? It's kind of
Ooh.
rainy. It could be like a sweet drink too. It doesn't
Maybe
have to
like
be.
one of those mug cakes.
They're-
It's raining
Ooh.
outside. Just like cuddle up, watch a movie
they're not
with a
going
mug
there.
cake today.
That's
Twilight
comforting.
specifically.
It should clear up towards the middle of the week, but at
All right,
the end of the
and
week we
mix
can
the
expect
DR1.
some rain as well. So maybe make a mug cake at the end of the week
I thought
as
she was talking about the
well.
weather.
Pretty consistent
Okay.
60-degree
And back to
temperatures
camera
too.
1.
Hopefully we're not back in the 80s, but
Take-
that's what I've got for the 5-day
Yep.
forecast.
All right.
All right,
well,
ready,
thank
Mac,
you,
low.
Allie. And that's all we have
Roll
for today.
Mac.
Yes, and
Roll
like
Mac.
I said, thank you for joining us. Make sure to tune in for Good Afternoon Blono, especially to see our Maggie Blyer talk about a very special accolade she received this past weekend. And make sure to have a great day.
Hey. And cut their mics. And ready V7 sound full. And mix and roll to V7.